And you'd better believe that I'm down with the thickness. Yeah, I'm disturbed. Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. I was just kicking back with some Saturday morning cartoons and fading away with some of the greatest breakfast cereal of all time, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And I know you might be thinking, hey, hold up, big guy. Like a week ago, you were waxing poetic about Raisin Bran. And no, there's totally a difference here. Raisin Bran is the wholesome cereal I reach for because I'm old and I'm forced to think about things like regularity. But Cinnamon Toast Crunch, simply put, is the greatest of all time. So released in 1984, Cinnamon Toast Crunch has continually topped popularity polls time and time again. And that's kind of amazing that over the last 37 years, the cereal wizards haven't been able to come up with anything better. And the reason is, point blank, this is the pinnacle. It's top of the mountain. Kellogg's, Post, Quaker, like just stop. It ain't getting any better than this. Like, especially you, Quaker, I'm still kind of traumatized from a childhood of Wilford Brimley screaming at me to eat my damn oats because it's the right thing to do, only to find out that the human walrus himself was struck down with diabetes. Just know that his insulin-free blood is on your hands, oatmeal. So, despite being the sole proprietors of the perfect cereal, it hasn't actually stopped General Mills from trying to improve its own creation, tweaking Cinnamon Toast Crunch into all kinds of limited editions and special flavors. And today, I'm going to find out if maybe there's a better version of Cinnamon Toast Crunch that we've been overlooking all along. All right, first up, we got the classic edition of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, because frankly, we need a baseline. This is the family-size Costco jumbo box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, because if you're going to be getting the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, don't screw around. You know you're going to eat like 3 bowls of it in a single sitting, and don't even pretend like a normal box is going to limit your consumption. You're not above Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Self-control is not an option. This is the only one of today's cereals that actually originated from my pantry. Look, if you don't have a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch in your pantry right now, I've got a question for you. Have you ever had Cinnamon Toast Crunch? If the answer is yes, and you don't have another box up there right now, it better be just because you finished one, and otherwise I'm judging you harder than Simon Cowell is judging an open night at karaoke. And honestly, if Simon ever turns up at your karaoke night, word of advice, do not sing Don't Stop Believing by Journey. The last 8 people before you already butchered it to high hell, just like every karaoke night I've ever attended. It's time to retire that one once and for all. Just once, I'd love to attend a karaoke night where somebody's like, well, I was gonna sing Total Eclipse of the Heart, but since we've already heard it 4 times tonight, and we've still got 3 hours from last call, I've decided to go with one that hits a little closer to home. Here's the Lap Dance Is Always Better When the Stripper Is Crying by the Bloodhound Gang. Seriously, just do that and thank me later. What is there to say about this cereal that hasn't been said on every other channel on YouTube already? Actually, forget I said that. Let's pretend everything you're seeing is brand new and fresh and makes you want to smash the subscribe button. Seriously, do it. I'll withhold every single box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch until you do, and don't think that I can't make that happen wherever you are. That includes you, Butte, Montana. I'm not overlooking anybody. But damn if this isn't good stuff. It's literally a perfect blend of cinnamon and sugar, and it's got a little bit of butteriness, which actually sounds gross when I say it because it's in milk. But if you've had this, you know what I mean, and you know it's great just the way it is. It stays crunchy despite the dairy lake that it's swimming in. So, you know what, I'm gonna leave this box right here in its rightful spot as the king, and we're gonna see if any of the contenders are able to capture the crown tonight. Well, the holidays are here, and you know what? Y'all can scream and yell, for God's sakes, it's November 20th at me all you want, but you're not gonna win with me. The sooner we start getting gingerbread this and eggnog that on our store shelves, the more satisfied I'm gonna be. And running a calorie surplus, which my scale probably won't come to appreciate, but I can justify it because it's the holiday season. I literally don't care if the calendar reads July 23rd. If I can buy eggnog, it's Christmas time. I'm telling you right now, if I was one of those influencers with like 100,000 views on my videos, the marketing execs at General Mills would be furiously scribbling in their notepads for 2022 writing, "Start Christmas releases in the spring. The fat guy said so." So just know if this channel ever blows up and we start seeing Christmas haystack flavored coffee creamer in April, you're free to blame me. I embrace your hate. Right, so Sugar Cookie Toast Crunch. This has been a regular thing since the 2014 holiday season, with the exception of that 2017 year where they tried to replace this with sugar cookie stars. Honest to God, that was as bad an idea as the Elf on the Shelf cereal, which if you haven't watched yet, I encourage you to do immediately after this episode is done. Like, I still don't understand why the Elf on the Shelf cereal needed to be made or what it even means. Is my cereal box supposed to move to a new place every day because it disappears at night to narc to Santa? You know, nighttime is when I need my cereal most, in a sleep-induced stupor where I'm shoving empty calories into my pie hole and then can't figure out why I gained 3 pounds last week. So here's what I'll say about this. General Mills just understands the art of cereal making, which is actually kind of hilarious because they built their brand on the backs of Cheerios and Kix, two of the blandest cereals on the planet. And that's not to say I hate Cheerios, like there's a time and a place. It's more of a weekday cereal where you don't have time to crash from sugar overload because you're working. The Cheerios represents the boring white-collar workday. This right here represents my inner child and Christmas, and something I can happily eat around the holidays while watching Bugs Bunny con a couple of mountain men into pulling each other's beards during a hoedown. With that said, it's not better than the original. It has all the pieces and building blocks. I'm actually thoroughly loving this cereal, but in comparing the two, this is, dare I say, too much sugar? You know, Cinnamon Toast Crunch has this whole balance thing figured out, while this one was like, yeah, forget any savory hints of anything. So, thank you. Next. You know, I watched a lot of cartoons when I was a kid. A never-ending lineup of Ninja Turtles, Care Bears, Inspector Gadget, and like a billion more shows. A staple of that lineup was the breakfast cereal commercials, and all of them would end with a very important sounding announcer informing us that this was part of a complete breakfast. In the ad, you'd have your toast, your bacon, a glass of orange juice, possibly even some eggs and a glass of milk because you know you're eating for 4. But you know what I never saw? Churros. Churros are not part of a complete breakfast. Churros are a state fair food. And what I'm getting at is, if we're now at a point where we're putting churros in our cereal, we should maybe think about doing the same with corn dogs, somehow. You know what? I'm gonna let the team of scientists figure out how to make corn dog cereal and not make it gross. I'm gonna have to think about this for a second. I don't actually know if this is the best of the Cinnamon Toast Crunch line, but I can tell you I think My Pet Monster was the best Saturday morning cartoon of all time, and here's where I'm gonna make that argument. Kids love repetition and familiarity. The entire run of the show was 13 episodes. Did you know that? I don't think I knew that until like yesterday when I was doing some research for this episode. And you know what? I loved that show. Somehow, with just 13 episodes in their catalog, they kept me wildly engaged every single week, sometimes twice a week, for like a 4-year span from 1987 to 1991. So that begs the question, are these churros the My Pet Monster of the Cinnamon Toast Crunch line? It's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be completely honest. And in thinking about this actually does make sense. Churros are still very cinnamon forward, so it's got all the building blocks of the original, but it's not quite enough. There's something in that very specific combination of cereal seasoning that's just so perfect. Had they simply replicated that topping and made them churro shaped, that might have got the job done. Because a light, crunchy churro topped with that Cinnamon Toast Crunch original flavor, yeah, that might have been enough to win it all. But as it is, not today. The king stays king. For now. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm already feeling the sugar zipping through my system, and as the energy is bringing me to life like an Evanescence song, I'm staring down the barrel of chocolate churros. You know what? Sure, why not? I think we're well past the point of, well, that seems like a reasonable breakfast option. And you know what? I'm banking on the last one being the one that just injects the sugar directly into my veins intravenously. These are Cinnamon Toast Crunch in name only. We neither have the shape of toast nor the cinnamon that was still present in the original churros. I feel like this is the Tiffany Trump of the Cinnamon Toast Crunch brand. You know she's still one of them, but no one ever talks about her or acknowledges her. This one's not working for me, and I think it's because at this stage, we've just simply gone way too far into left field and have veered more into the Reese's world of cereal as opposed to being part of the Cinnamon Toast Crunch family. A hard pass on this one. Yeah, baby, now we're all up in my neighborhood. They ran with an apple Cinnamon Toast Crunch a few years ago, but those were actually in French toast form. And these are shaped more like the normal Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Does that matter? Well, yeah. Did you miss everything I just said? They were shaped differently, and that matters because French Toast Crunch is thicker. And you'd better believe that I'm down with the thickness. Yeah, I'm disturbed. This cereal feels very Canadian to me. And I know Americans have their own apple orchards, probably, because people do say, I'm as American as apple pie. But yo, our whole country literally builds the month of September around finding time to go pick your own at the orchards. Or is that something we just started doing during the pandemic because we're incredibly bored? Look, I literally took an entire week's vacation last year to sit at home and try to make recipes I'd never made before. Yeah, you'd better believe that vacation ranked up there with expeditions like going on a barbecue tour through Kansas City, or taking thrill rides all over Busch Gardens in Tampa, or getting the mother of all sunburns on the beaches of Boracay while pounding 2-for-1 vodka cranberries every single day. But man, someday I'm gonna tell my son about that killer vacation I took in 2020 and I stayed home and made chicken biryani. As far as this cereal goes though, I absolutely love this. You've got the cinnamon, which is kind of critical in today's game, but that addition of apples is really so pleasant. So I'm torn. The original is a masterpiece, and I feel guilty even thinking about another one, but we're getting damn close to coin flip territory. So, given I don't find the apple pie definitively better, I'm still gonna defer to the original, but just barely. I think that when you're not 100% sure, you've gotta stick with the one that started it all. It's kind of like poutine. You can doll it up with all the bells and whistles, throw in jalapenos or chicken or whatever, but it's the poutine that made it poutine in the first place. So, I respectfully can't allow this to take the top slot, but it's still worth seeking out during its limited run. Oh, damn, that's some good cereal. Well, hey, would you look at that? We just talked about French Toast Crunch, and here they are in their pure thick form. Pure thick form used to be my online dating name. Admittedly, if I didn't have working knowledge of these ahead of time, on the surface, these would utterly terrify me. French toast is just an eggy bread, and as discussed at least, 30 times previously, I don't do eggs. I don't understand how anybody even does eggs. They smell like somebody opened a sewer grate and invited you for breakfast. And I feel like a crazy person every time I say those things because everybody eats eggs, and I'm left wondering, what are they not smelling? It's my least favorite part of getting coffee from a fast food place in the morning. The whole restaurant smells like stank. Is this how people who hate cilantro feel? Anyway, thankfully General Mills is aware of this and focused more on the shape of the French toast and adding cinnamon and sugar and not on the eggy bread. Unless they've gone ahead and changed the recipe, in which case you're like 5 seconds away from seeing me erupt like a volcano. What I really like about this is that it's trying to replicate that post-honeycomb cereal flavor with all that syrupy goodness that you get, but without the giant obnoxious honeycomb pieces. Honest to God, honeycomb, you're a cereal, not a donut hole. Size is not the most important thing here. So this is absolutely fine, I guess. Kind of like the TikTok pancake cereal beta version. But if you're asking me to choose between this and the original, that's like asking me to choose between Cheerios and Honey Nut Cheerios. Who's picking Cheerios? It doesn't even have a B. This is the Cheerios. All right, the last competitor to the crown, and I believe these are a Canadian exclusive, although the US does have the same thing, just calling it Dulce de Leche Toast Crunch.
Dulce de Leche is Spanish, and of course in Canada, our second language is French.
I mean, not around here in Ottawa. I live next to Gatineau, Quebec, and they speak a language that's more accurately defined as Fringlish. For example, if I had kids who had an emergency at school and I had to pick them up, I'd have to let my boss know by telling them, Hey bud, je suis besoin d'aller chercher mes kids. Je vais right now. Je vais en être back here bientôt. Oh, je vais passer le store. Do you need quelque chose? And I'm not even kidding. They'll flip back and forth with such ease you'd think they were holding political office. It's truly the wildest thing, and I guarantee anybody watching from that part of the country is either laughing and nodding furiously or cursing me out. Sorry, c'est true là. So I saved these for last because I feel like they both have the highest ceiling and the lowest floor. Caramel probably has the highest swings of any junk food product, where the good is great and the bad is inedible. But given everything else that we've had today, I have faith that this has a chance to go for a home run. So I like this. A lot, actually. But it doesn't have what it takes to win. You know, caramel-based cereals haven't ever really taken the market by storm. We've managed to integrate a lot of sweet flavors into the breakfast cereal line. You've got honey, you've got cinnamon, you've got brown sugar, toucan salmon, all of its various fruits, all things that you traditionally see at a breakfast table. Oh, and of course, Cookie Crisp, very underrated cereal. Caramel, for whatever reason, just doesn't do the cereal thing nearly as well of a lot of its sweet counterparts. And I'm not smart enough to explain why that is, but I'm sure there's something in the food pairings world between milk and caramel that would explain why cinnamon sets off our happiness receptacles in a bowl of cereal, but this doesn't. Now, I know you're all ready to see me officially anoint the original Cinnamon Toast Crunch as the winner of today's taste test. But before we do, I'm actually curious about something. If Cinnamon Toast Crunch is, by and large, amazeballs across the board with all of its different iterations, is it possible that the whole is even better than the sum of its parts? You know, there's only one way to find this out. We're gonna mix every Cinnamon Toast Crunch together to form a super union of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. We're either gonna be blessed with a killer cereal, or I'm gonna form something so ghastly it'll be a serial killer. I call it Cinnamon Toast Punch. And now, if you'll excuse me, I have my pet monster to watch. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing.